Hi, I'm Lynda Hafner, top producing realtor at REALTY Realty in Central Massachusetts. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on out there in this market and how you can be the winning offer in a very competitive housing market. So if you have not been out there looking at homes and been putting offers in on houses, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But so let me just give you a brief overview. We've been in a seller's market for more than 5-6 years, and we really has been building to this point where we're at now. I talked a lot about the real estate market and where we're at in my last video. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. But basically what's going on is there are multiple offers on every home. Houses are selling for 20% over asking price, and they're doing all kinds of things like waiving home inspections, paying over appraised values. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there. And when there's multiple offers, only one offer is going to be the winning offer. And you need to understand how to become that one winning offer, what you need to do. So we're going to talk about that now. Before I get into specifics of that, I just want to mention one thing, and that is to please make sure that you choose a very experienced buyer agent. Because in this market that we're in right now, part-timers who are doing this on the side and are not completely fully immersed in what is going on in this very quickly changing, dramatic turn of events, they're not going to be able to keep up with what's going on, and they're not going to necessarily be able to guide you to make the best offers to get the home that you love. So please, if you're not in Central Mass, if you're in Central Mass, please by all means reach out to me. If you are in somewhere else, let me know. I can refer you to a great agent who is full-time with many years experience and that can guide you through these crazy times that we're in right now. One more thing I want to say before I get into the details is I just want to kind of explain to you what I'm seeing, okay? I'm working with buyers and I'm also representing sellers. So I'm on both sides of the transaction. Not only am I the one receiving multiple offers significantly over asking, I'm also trying to put offers in and get homes for my buyers. So I'm seeing a lot of what is going on. And I'll just give you, over the past couple of weeks, it's been shifting very quickly. We went from 20 to 30 over asking as being a norm to now like 50 and sometimes even 100,000 over asking in certain situations for homes that are really pristine and highly desirable. You know, granted, it's going to depend based on where you are, but this is what I'm seeing in Central Mass. It's crazy, unprecedented things that buyers are willing to do to get the home that they want. So the most important thing to get a home in this market, in this very competitive market, is that you have to want the home more than you want the money right now. So what that means is if you're trying to get the best value for your money, now is not the time to buy. You're not going to be getting the best value for the money. If you're into this because you want to be a homeowner, you don't want to rent anymore, or your current home isn't meeting your needs and you need a new home that fits your life better, and it's a situation that is imperative to you, then this is the market for you. This is going to be totally driven by your desire. That desire for the house has to be strong. If it's not strong, you're not going to be willing to make the sacrifices that you're gonna need to make in this market in order to beat out all the other offers. Because again, every home, it's selling within 3 days, usually right now, and it's selling for, anywhere between 30 and I've heard stories of well over 80. It hasn't happened to me personally, but I have heard that in Central Mass. I know it's happening in many other areas, but in this area, I would say average is, according to the statistics, is 35,000 over asking. Most homes sold for over asking. I'm seeing like in order to be the winning bid, you really need to, for a high quality home that's in pristine condition, you're probably gonna have to go 40, 50 or higher in order to be that winning bid. That's a lot of money. It's a big sacrifice. And is that what you want? Only you can determine that for yourself. This may not be the time for you to buy. And that is only a question you can ask yourself and see whether you have that motivation to move forward in buying in this market. To be the winning offer, you're gonna need more cash for your offer now than you used to be able to get away with. And I mean, there are always exceptions to this, but in general, sellers of homes, there are so few homes available for sale and so many buyers looking to buy it, they're going to look for the people who are the financially strongest because they're the most certain, the sure thing that are going to actually make it to closing and things will proceed. So, and the fact that when you're offering $20,000 and $50,000 over asking, that house is very likely not always going to appraise. And if that's the situation, you may have to put in some cash over the appraised value in order to make the deal happen. In other words, if the appraisal, you put in an offer for $400,000 on a $350,000 house and it only appraises at $380,000, what I've been doing with some of my buyers is saying, okay, well, we'll contribute 10 grand cash over the appraised value if it doesn't appraise at the 400 price to make up the difference. So you don't end up paying that 400,000, you end up paying the 380, which is what it appraised at, plus another 10 up cash. So it's still less that you end up paying, but it comes out of your pocket. It's cash. You can't finance that, and that may or may not make a difference depending on your situation. That's one of the things that's changed where you need cash. But another thing is with closing cost credit. If it's hard for a home to appraise, you can't add a closing cost credit because that's going to take away from the over asking price. So you need that closing cost, which is like 2 to 3%. You know, in Massachusetts, the average is around $6 grand for closing costs. So these are all extra costs, extra money that you're going to have tucked away in the bank in order to be the winning offer. Another important factor in being the winning offer in a multiple offer situation is going to depend on what kind of financing you have. I know a lot of people aren't going to understand this if you're not in the field, but let me just tell you that right now, in this particular market, FHA loans, USDA loans, and veterans loans are not as easily being accepted because they have higher restrictions of homes that are being sold than cash or conventional. And I can tell you this from personal experience. I had a buyer who had FHA. We put in at least 6 offers on homes within probably a 2 or 3 week period. They had FHA financing. We went high over asking with our offers, and even 50,000 over asking, and we would not be the winning offer. And it was all due to that FHA. Sellers do not want that FHA financing. And it's not a discriminatory thing. It's just that the FHA makes sellers put more money into their house to make it safe in order for it to be acceptable to that bank. And a conventional does not, and neither does cash. So cash or conventional is really the type of financing you want in order to be the winning offer. So if you don't have conventional or cash, it may not be the market for you. And it's sad for me to even say that, but you may have to wait this out until things get a little bit less competitive, sadly. The biggest factor that I've noticed lately within the past month, is it really doesn't matter as much how far over asking price you offer, because if the house isn't going to appraise by the lenders, then it's not going to be of any value to the seller, because there is almost always a contingency in every offer. This is what I've done. Most agents who are experienced do this. They put a contingency waiver that written right into the offer, that if the home doesn't appraise, then the offer it would be null and void unless the house had to appraise. But now the new thing that's going on right now is that the offers are going in with offering, as I mentioned before, cash over the appraised value. Should you offer to pay cash over appraised value? Hell no. I mean, is it smart financially? No, it's not. But again, this is where we get back to the very first point I'm making, which the home has to mean more to you than the money. If you're all into making a wise financial decision, then scrap all of this. This tool right here, offering cash over the appraised value. This is how you win the house, okay? This isn't how you make a wise financial decision. This is when you really need a house, you have to get it. It's your dream house. You really want this one particular house. And then in that situation, yes, it's the only way probably in Central Mass right now that you're even gonna have a chance at a house. And there may be a rare exception to that, but for the most part, the seller's gonna look at how much are you willing to pay over the appraised value, and that's the biggest value to them. So that's a personal decision that you have to make. If you want to be the winning offer in this competitive market we're in, the thing that I notice that the most often when I lose an offer, it's because we lost it to someone who waived the home inspection. And should you waive the home inspection is the question. Absolutely not. But are you going to get the house without waiving the home inspection? Good chance, probably not. So in desperation, this is what buyers are doing. Is it a good idea? No, not really. But there are a couple of tools that I do that are a close second without having to completely waive the home inspection. You could say the home inspection contingency is void as long as the home repairs do not total over $10,000, or pick whatever number you're personally comfortable with. Basically, you need to give a reassurance to the sellers that you aren't going to be nitpicky about a plug that isn't grounded, or a piece of tile that is loose, something insignificant and small that you're not going to be nitpicky as normally a lot of buyers can be. After a home inspection, they can pick out really small things, and the home inspection renegotiation period can be drawn out and intense, and sellers would love to avoid that. Why wouldn't they? Is that in a home buyer's best interest? Absolutely not. So there are ways, you have to look for ways to be creative to somehow protect yourself, but at the same time give a seller what the seller wants, so that they're going to pick your offer over the 8 or 12 other offers that they have on the table. Obviously, being a winning offer means, yes, you do have to pay over asking price, but how much over asking price? This is the question I get all the time from home buyers, and it's going to vary depending on a lot of different things. Mostly the condition of the home. The more move-in ready, pristine the home is, the higher it's going to go over asking, because that is what everyone wants. If there are things that need to be done on the house, there may be a little bit more flexibility. You don't have to go quite as high over. And, in real extreme situations where a septic is needed, or, real dramatic money involved, I've seen a couple of houses sell slightly under the asking price. And it also depends on how realistic the list price is as well. And your realtor should be checking on that for you. Checking out comps of similar solds to make sure that the house is priced, accurately for the market. But again, right now, it's really hard to judge what is priced accurately for the market, because, like I said, it's changing so quickly in such a short period of time that I mean, when I go to list a house, it's hard for me to even use comps from 6 months ago because they're completely outdated for the market that we're in right now. So this is why you really need a good agent that you're working with who's in this market and immersed in it day by day, and not somebody who's doing this part-time, because it is so quickly changing and you need that up-to-date information. One of the things I do, because I have been an experienced agent and I work with 30 interactions, transactions a year, is I know that communication with the list agent is critical. Ask as many questions and get as much information from the list agent of the home that you're trying to get, and get as much information as you possibly can to help you decide how much over asking. I tend to push the limits with the questions of which I'm asking in order to get a feel for, whether my buyer even wants to go that high. You got to remember, people do have budgets and they have to stay within that budget. And sometimes being the winning offer, you don't even have a chance at it because your budget has restraints to it. So, it really is going to depend. But one of the things I do recommend for all buyers right now is, if you are going shopping, you should be looking at homes $50,000 less than your max budget. Absolutely, so that it gives you flexibility. And that is unfortunate in respect to the fact that, you're probably not going to get as much house, but the interest rates are so good and you are still going to benefit from the low interest rates, and you'll get more house for your money on that side of it. So, it usually works in pairs like that: low interest rate, higher price, lower price and higher interest rate. So, that's generally what you see in the market. So right now, the trend that we're in are higher prices and lower interest rates. Again, these are decisions that you need to make. It's going to depend on your situation, how desperately you want a house over the money, and how comfortable you are with being in this competition. But this is what it's going to take to be the winning offer. You should be listening to your agent, trust your agent, make sure they're very experienced, because this is a lot of money and it's a lot of sacrifice on your part. It's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to make these recommendations to people. I can tell you, I don't like this market at all. It's literally painful for me to recommend for a buyer to put this much money into a house. But I also know that there are situations where it's needed. It's the only way. So, this is it. This is how to win the house in this market, and let's hope it changes soon. Okay, have a great day. Bye.